Hello students, today we start with a new unit and that is of transformer. For the GTU examination point of view, this unit is important for the theory. They may ask you either definition or the theory from this particular section. Okay, now to start with a transformer, first of all we need to understand what is called magnetic material, what is called non-magnetic material. Which material you can consider like a magnetic material, which material you can consider like a non-magnetic material. Now for the magnetic material, now it is defined as the material in which a state of magnetism can be induced. Magnetic materials when magnetized create a magnetic field around them. Now again I want to define it. It is defined as the materials in which a state of magnetism can be induced. Now first of all, why we are discussing this magnetic material? Because the major material that one need to use or fundamental principle of transformer, how it works, it relates to magnetism. Okay, so we need to first consider what is called magnetic, non-magnetic material and the property of a particular material. Now the secondary, what is the difference in between magnetic and the non-magnetic material? Now if it is non-magnetic material, so all the molecules that is inside the particular material, all the molecules of this material contain the electron orbiting around the nucleus for a non-magnetic material. Now all these such orbits are equivalent to circulating the currents and therefore they develop the MMF. MMF stands for magnetomotive force. But in a non-magnetic material, the MMF produced by the one orbit is neutralized by the opposite one. While if you consider the magnetic material like iron, okay, there are many orbits which are unneutralized. Due to them, a resultant axis of MMF exists which produce a magnetic dipole. Okay, now these dipoles line up in parallel with the MMF, and when we remove the exciting EMMF, many of the dipole may remain aligned in a direction of external field, and this material exhibit a property that is called permanent magnetism. Now this is all about what is called magnetic and the non-magnetic material. Okay, in a very simple way, non-magnetic material, whenever you use or non-magnetic material like a wood or a plastic, like that, if you use that kind of material, so in that material the molecules in this material, they are orbiting, or electrons available in a particular molecules, they are orbiting around the nucleus, and indirectly or directly a particular force is generated in a particular orbit and in a opposite direction, so they cancel out each other, so that we can say that there is no MMF inside the particular. There is resultant force that will produce in a non-magnetic material, that is zero, while in a magnetic material the resultant will represent a particular force that is called magnetomotive force. Now there are some of the things that you need to understand over here for a magnetic material. So the first thing, that is permeability, and that is mu. Now permeability is defined as it is the ability of a material to easily allow the magnetic lines to pass through it. The magnetic material have a high permeability, while the non-magnetic material have the low permeability. You can represent permeability by a symbol that is called mu. It is nothing but ability of a material to allow the magnetic lines to pass through it. Now if it is a particularly a magnetic material, so that it will allow to pass, while non-magnetic material, they will not allow to pass magnetic lines through it. Now permeability of vacuum or the free space, if you can consider, okay, so it is a constant value. The permeability of a vacuum or the free space is always constant, and it is denoted by mu 0. This mu 0, and value you need to take it, that is 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 h by m Henry per meter. Now the second term that you need to consider, which is related to absolute permeability and the permeability, that is relative permeability. The relation between relative permeability and a particular permeability of a material, that is mu is equal to mu 0 into mu r. Okay, mu 0 we know that is nothing but a permeability of a vacuum or the free space, or you can say that absolute permeability. This is relative permeability and this is your permeability. Now mu r, obviously it is a unitless quantity and its value varies with a degree of magnetization of a material. Okay, so this is all about the permeability, relative permeability, and particularly absolute permeability. They may ask you this particular thing for a definition particularly in an examination. Now we need to study the classification of a magnetic material. There are various classification available for the magnetic material. Now if according to the material, okay, classification of magnetic, according to the material, if you classify particularly a magnetic material, okay, so here you need to consider the classification like that material with a linear relation between M and H, and a second classification if you consider only a material, so that is called ferromagnetic material. Now what is M and H? M is nothing but a magnetization and H is a magnetic field strength. So magnetization and the magnetic field strength, if the material with a linear relation with a magnetic field strength and particularly a magnetization, so that is one part, and second one is ferromagnetic material. Now particularly material with a linear relation between M and H, that again classify into diamagnetic material and the paramagnetic material. So this is called one of the classification that one need to consider in a case of magnetic material, and if you consider a classification by considering a magnetic material. Now what is called diamagnetic material? The diamagnetic materials are the magnetic materials which have the negative value of susceptibility in a range of 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 6. Okay, and what is called paramagnetic material? So paramagnetic materials are the magnetic materials which have a positive value of a susceptibility in a range of 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 6. So one is negative value and the secondary is a positive value. Now what is now the ferromagnetic material? Now this is the third type of magnetic material. Okay, in this material the magnetic material in which we have a non-linear relationship between M and H. One material in which there is a linear relationship between M and H, and one material in which there is a non-linear characteristic in between M and H. So you can classify that magnetic material. In ferromagnetic materials, the magnetization is 1 to several times that value of mu 0 Henry. Okay, so this you can consider as a classification. Now if you classify the magnetic material based on the presence or the absence of permanent magnetic dipole, so accordingly if you classify, so that you can classify it in a various in a 5 different ways. Okay, if the permanent magnetic dipoles are absent, okay, you need to classify whether it is presence or absence of permanent magnet dipole. So if the permanent magnetic dipoles are absent, the material that is known as diamagnetic material, while if the material is paramagnetic or ferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic or ferrimagnetic, so that you can say that dipoles are present. So this is a classification, the one diamagnetic material in which the permanent magnetic dipoles are absent, while in all 4 the magnetic dipoles are available. Okay, now this paramagnetic, ferromagnetic, antiferromagnetic and the ferrimagnetic material, okay, here you can see that there is some particular direction, okay, arrangement of a dipole moments for a paramagnetic material that is been drawn. Okay, now here you can see that if you are using a paramagnetic material, okay, the dipole moments that is randomly oriented, dipole moments are randomly oriented, and if the interaction among the permanent dipole moment is zero or negligible, then the material is called as a paramagnetic material. So here the moment in a dipole moments are randomly oriented, while if you consider a ferromagnetic material, okay, so the dipole moments in a magnetic line in this particular material that line up themselves in parallel to each other, all the magnetic dipole moments that is parallel to each other, then the material is known as ferromagnetic material. The ferromagnetic material have a strong interatomic interaction, due to which they exhibit a ordered magnetism. Okay, now the third one, that is antiferromagnetic material. Okay, here you can say that the neighboring dipole moments are aligned anti-parallel. Okay, this is called parallel, this is called anti-parallel moment. Okay, and because of the phenomena of a magnetic dipole moment getting aligned in an anti-parallel manner is known as antiferromagnetism. The ferromagnetic material is, in the ferromagnetic material, a large resultant magnetism is observed, but antiferromagnetic material, the resultant magnetism here it is zero. Now antiferromagnetic material, the molecular moment will be zero, and therefore the spontaneous magnetism will be absent for antiferromagnetism material. Now the last one, that is ferrimagnetic material. Now here the magnetic moment is like given in a diagram. Okay, this material is known as ferrimagnetic material. The value of a molecular moment of a ferrimagnetic material is in between antiferromagnetic and the ferromagnetic material. Okay, so this is all about the difference between all the material in which we classify the magnetic material, whether it is dipole that is present or permanent dipole that is present or absent. Okay, so you need to memorize all this difference. They may ask you this in a theory question, which is very important one. Now if you classify again the third classification, if you classify it again on a base of permeability, so that based on permeability again you can classify it by ferromagnetic, paramagnetic and a diamagnetic material. Again for a ferromagnetic material, the value of a relative permeability mu r is substantially higher than 1, and it is dependent on the strength of a magnetic field. Okay, now the properties of a ferromagnetic material, if you can consider, so they are placed in a magnetic field, the field get distorted. The force exerted by the magnetic field on this particular material is very strong. The necessary condition for the existence of ferromagnetism is that the permanent magnetic moment should be present, and the large number of atoms are arranged parallel to each other, and they have large value of a relative permeability. So this is all about a ferromagnetic material. Now the paramagnetic material. Now the relative permeability of this particular material is only slightly greater than 1. This is greater than 1. This is slightly greater than 1. Now the properties for this paramagnetic material, if you want to consider, okay, so if when paramagnetic materials are placed in a magnetic field, there is a negligible distortion in a particular field. The force exerted by the magnetic field on this particular material, that is very weak, and this paramagnetism is analogous to polarization process in dielectric material. Now the third material, that is called a diamagnetic material. Okay, for this particular material the relative permeability is always slightly less than 1. Okay, so according to based on permeability value we can classify it by 3 ways. Here the value of a permeability is a very greater than 1. Here it is slightly greater than 1, and here it is less than 1. Okay, the value of a permeability you need to consider. When the diamagnetic material are placed in a magnetic field, there is a negligible again distortion in a field. force exerted by the magnetic field on this particular material is very weak, and dimagnetism can be detected if the properties related to positive magnetism are absent. So this is how you can classify a particularly magnetic material by considering the material or by considering the value of a permeability. So total 3 classification you need to consider in a case of magnetic material. Now the characteristic, or particularly we need to know the basic characteristic of a magnetization. Okay, now BH characteristic is a measure to actually look forward the characteristic of a particular given magnetic material. Now B, again, current you can represent by I, field strength you can, magnetic field strength you can represent by H, and flux density you can represent by B. Now here the BH curve or BH characteristic of magnetization curve we need to study. So you need to draw a graph that will represent on a x-axis you need to take a field strength, on a y-axis you need to take a flux density. Now if you draw the particular magnetization curve is a graphical, it is BH curve is nothing but it is a graphical relationship between B and H, and with H plotted on a x-axis and B plotted on a y-axis. Now according to diagram, if you can see there are particularly you can see there are three regions that you need to consider in this particular curve. Okay, now one, that is region in between origin and point X, region in between X and Y, and beyond Y. This Y point is also known as knee point, and this particular region in between X and Y, that is a slope which will represent the permeability value mu. Now the region OX, this region OX. Okay, now here you can say that for zero current, now here the value for H is equal to 0 and B is also 0. The flux density B then increases gradually. This B increases gradually as you increase the value of H. Okay, now B changes slowly in a particular region as compared with H. Okay, so this is the region OX. Now in region XY, in this particular region, the small change in X, here you can say that a small change in H, there is a large change in B. There is a large change in B. The BH curve is almost linear in this particular region. This linearity comes to an end at a point Y, and the BH curve start bending. Point Y is also known as a knee point. Now the region beyond Y, that is nothing but your saturation region. After point Y, the change in a B is a small. Even for a large change in H, change in a B is very small even for a large change in a particular value of a H. So the BH curve will end to the parallel to the x-axis. This BH curve that ends at a parallel to the particularly to the x-axis, and this region is called as a saturation region. Now which indicates the magnetic flux saturation in a core. That means even if we change the current I, there will be no change in H, but there is a change in B. So this is the important property that one need to consider. I will repeat that. This point beyond Y, that will represent if we change the current I, then there will be a change in H, but there is no change in B. So your flux density remains same, while the if you change the value of a current I, so that magnetic field strength gets changed, but the value of a flux density remains same after point Y, and this is called as a saturation region. Okay, in a case of a particularly in a particularly BH characteristic of a magnet, BH or characteristic or the magnetization curve. Now this you need to consider like it is a basics of a particular characteristic, BH characteristic, and this you need to memorize. They may ask you in an examination.